good evening. I'm pretty late on this topic, on this announcement. Late, well, the announcement of Graham Potter's sacking that happened earlier on this season, I believe in March, and I just want to quickly just share my thoughts on his run as a Chelsea manager. Clearly, he never was supposed to be the manager of Chelsea. He was never the right fit, and I still think he's a good manager. I'm not going to use this bad run as a Chelsea manager to kind of dismiss him, and I don't think anybody should devalue his management skills, because he was a very good manager at Brighton, and before that at Swedish club as well, and Swansea, I believe. So I'm not going to suddenly use this bad stint at Chelsea to kind of dismiss his skills. But like I said before, he never was the right fit, and part of that reason is because he clearly didn't have a backbone against Todd Bowley. The thing is, under Roman Abramovich, he wouldn't have been hired in the first place, but clearly with the ownership of Todd Bowley, Chelsea were aiming to go into a new direction. So which is why they hired Graham Potter to be that manager that takes them into a long-term project. But clearly there was no progress being shown. I mean, they were awful. They were awful to watch, losing against Southampton, losing against Villa, losing against Fulham. Obviously they lost to Man City, and it just wasn't good enough. And now they have, Frank Lampard as interim manager, who has no self-respect for himself and his career, but that's for another video. The fact is, in life, you should always try something new, or try something risky, or try something that's difficult, to see how far you can go in that challenge. You should certainly you should always have ambition, no question about that. At the same time, if you're going to have ambition, you should at least have some characteristics that could possibly help you in that ambition. So in other words, Graham Potter, I mean, I would say that he should have stayed at Brighton, and since he's left Brighton, they've actually improved, they've gotten better, but that's for another day. So the point is, right, Graham Potter, understandably, he wanted to try and challenge himself at a big club, at a big six club. It was Chelsea, and the problem is, okay, he has a lack of winning experience, but regardless, if you're up and coming manager, you should go there and have some guts to kind of stand up for yourself and to kind of implement a philosophy that you want, and just make clear to the owner that you want to buy players that fit your philosophy of football. And he couldn't do that. I mean, all the signings that were made in January, with about 10 signings in the January transfer window, it was just too much, too big of a squad, too many players to handle, too many egos to deal with, too many egos. It just wasn't going to work out, and sometimes, in his interviews, he'll be very snarky or very cringe, sarcastic. When he starts mentioning Arteta, like Mikel Arteta, who had his struggles, and he has done well, not recently, but for the most part he has shown progress with Arsenal. But even in the years he was struggling at Arsenal, Arteta showed some progress. He won the FA Cup, which helped massively. So, but as of right now, Potter didn't show any sign of progress throughout his time in charge at Chelsea. He won very few good games, and now Chelsea are in 11th with Lampard. But with regards to Potter, there was no sign of progress being made. So he didn't quite help himself by playing different teams every match. Like if you're gonna start as manager, and there's a philosophy that will take time to implement. It's not going to be like clicking the first time, but that philosophy will take some time to kind of implement into your system of players. It has to be players who you believe that you can get the best out of. The problem is that Graham Potter kept changing teams week in, week out. There was no consistency, so there was no possibility of building chemistry, and he didn't help himself in that regard. And right now he's jobless. I think he's going to find another job, but the fact is, when you are at a big club, especially Chelsea, who are notorious or well known for being trophy demanding, I think they've won the most trophies in the last 15 years, since obviously Abramovich was owner, and he's gone now, but since then they started winning lots of trophies in abundance. So when you go to a big club like Chelsea, there's going to be certain expectations that you're going to have to achieve, that you're going to have to show, or there's going to be a requirement for instant progress, quite frankly. And listen, Todd Bowley is a handful. Clearly he's American. It's not a big surprise that he's very egotistic, and yeah, he is an issue, because he's kind of like that kid who goes to a candy store and buys everything. So but that's for another day, another video. But in regards to Graham Potter, I think you have to show signs of progress. You have to show signs of a backbone, of someone who can stand up for themselves, and not just be so cringy and just so cheeky as well. So cheeky, like the whole comment about a crisis meeting, like or comparing himself to Arteta. Like, come on, you're doing yourself no favours there, mate. Graham Potter was doing himself no favours, and now he's out of a job. Now he's sacked at Chelsea. This probably could be the biggest job he's ever going to get, potentially. There's always Spurs, so big job. It's not fully out of the ruling for him, but as of right now, it has to be, because things did not go well at Chelsea, and he was sacked from his duties, and probably go back to managing a club level, like a Brighton, like a club that's similar to level of Brighton or lower, Crystal Palace, Leeds, Leicester maybe. So yeah, it just didn't work out, and that's how life goes. Things don't always work out, and you have to move on and learn from it. Hopefully he does. That's what I have to say. Take care. God bless.